Friends, let us see plosives today in the description of English consonants. In English language, in British received pronunciation, there are 24 consonants. They are classified according to their manner of articulation. They are plosives, affricates, fricatives, nasals, lateral, frictionless, continuant, and semi vowels. In this table of English consonants, you can see vividly how the consonants are classified and subcategories also. Bilabial plosives, plosives, bilabial plosives, where p and b are belong to bilabial plosives. Alveolar plosives, t and d, and velar plosives, k and g. Similarly, affricates, ch and j, post-alveolar affricates. So, in this manner, you can see the tabular form of English consonants. Now, let us proceed with the plosives and study in detail. The production of plosives takes place in 3 stages. The closing stage, during which the articulatory organs come together and make a firm contact with each other. The hold or compression stage, in which, because of the lung action, the air behind the closure is compressed. The release or the explosive stage, during which the articulatory organs separate or get released rapidly, resulting in the escape of the compressed air with explosion. There are 3 pairs of plosives in received pronunciation. Bilabial plosive, where p and b sounds are there. Alveolar plosives for t and d sounds. Velar plosives, k and g sounds. P, t, k. The sounds p, t, k are voiceless plosives, and b, d, g are voiced plosives. Now, let us see in detail the articulation of p sound. In the articulation of p, the soft palate is raised to shut off the nasal cavity. The obstacle to the passage of lung air is formed by the closure of the lips. The lung air is compressed behind this closure, and the vocal cords are kept wide apart. When the lip closure is released, the compressed air escapes with explosion or with force. Thus, p is a voiceless bilabial plosive. You can see the diagram where the articulation process has been vividly depicted. Let us talk about the spelling of p. The consonant p is always spelt with letter p. It is exception in words like shepherd, shepherd. P is spelt as f. It is silent in words like cupboard, pneumonia, salem, receipt, etc. Allophonic variants of p. P is aspirated, that is, it is released with a puff of breath when it occurs initially in stressed syllables. The symbol used to represent this allophone is p, ph. Example, pin. We pronounce it as pin, paint, a pint, appear, please, pray, pure. Per is unaspirated when it occurs in an unaccented syllable, as in cup, sleep, type. It occurs before another plosive or affricate, as in wept, captain. It is nasally released through the nose when it is followed by no, as in happen, help me. Position of per, if we talk about it, it occurs in all three positions, initially, medially and finally, as in pin, piece, medially as in lapse, imply, finally as in lamp, dump, lip. Now let us see the description of b sound. In the articulation of b, the soft palate is raised to shut off the nasal cavity. The obstacle to the passage of the lung air is formed by the closure of the lips. The lung air is compressed behind this closure and the vocal cords are intact and vibrate. When the lip closure is released, the compressed air escapes with explosion sound or with force. Thus, b is a voiced bilabial plosive. Spelling of b, it is spelled with the letter b, as in bale, ball. B is silent when it is preceded by m. For example, climb, comb, or followed by t. T comes finally, as in depth, doubt. It is also silent in words like plumber, subtle. Allophons of b. B is partially devoiced when it occurs initially, that is, vocal cords vibrate in the release stage of articulation. For example, boy, boat, bill. It is voiceless when it occurs finally, as in club, web, mom. It is fully voiced when it occurs between voiced sounds, as in about, rebound, labor, husband. Nasally released when it is followed by no. Example, submit, ribbon. The b sound occurs in three positions, initially, medially and finally, as in ball, stab, submit. Now let us see alveolar plosives. For the description of t sound, the soft palate is raised to shut off the nasal passage of air, and the primary obstacle to the airstream is formed by a closure between the tip of the tongue and the teeth ridge and the rims of the tongue and side teeth. The lung air is compressed behind the closure and the vocal cords do not vibrate. When the closure is released, the compressed air escapes with force. Thus, t is a voiceless alveolar plosive. The diagram here shows very clearly the articulation manner of t sound. Spelling of t, it is spelled regularly with t and double t, as in tank, actor, butter, utter. With th, it is spelled as Thomas, thermal. Also in past participle marked ed as suffix to verbs ending in voiceless consonants other than t. It is pronounced as t. Booked, passed, hatched. It is silent in words like castle, Christmas, bustle. Allophons of t, that is multiple possible spoken sounds. It is aspirated when it occurs initially in an accented syllable, as in tin, twice, tune. Unaspirated when it occurs in unaccented syllables, filter, later. Also when it occurs medially, as in hats, bits, etc. Inaudibly released, that is without explosion, when it occurs finally, as in hot, wet, late, and when it is followed by another plosive, as in hotbed, white dog. It is nasally released when it is followed by n, as in button, mutton, cotton. Its position, it occurs in all three positions, initially, medially, and finally, as in top, pot, cotton. Alveolar plosive, d. For the articulation of d, the soft palate is raised to shut off the nasal passage of air, and the primary obstacle to the airstream is formed by a closure between the tip of the tongue and the teeth ridge and the rims of the tongue and side teeth. The lung air is compressed behind the closure and the vocal cords vibrate. When the closure is released, the compressed air escapes with force. Thus, t is a voiced alveolar plosive. Spelling: d is spelt as d or d, as in door, sad, hidden. It is silent in words like handkerchief, handsome, and if we talk about allophones of d, it is partially devoiced. Vocal cords vibrate in the beginning, as for example in the words like ado, render, model, and roadways. It is voiceless when it occurs finally, as in bid, said, rouse. It is fully voiced when it occurs between voiced sounds such as render, model. It is nasally released when it is followed by n, as in sudden, bad name, good night. D occurs in all three positions, initially, medially, and finally, as in dinner, read, midway. Let us see velar plosives. For the articulation of k, the back of the tongue is in firm contact against the soft palate, and the soft palate is also raised and the nasal passage is shut off. The main obstacle to the main airstream is formed and the lung air compressed behind closure, and the vocal cords do not vibrate. When the closure is released, the compressed air escapes with force. For letter K, as in keen, speaker, kit, k sound is used. For letter C, k sound is used, cut, act, metric. For double C, as in occasion, occur, according. For CK, as in pack, sick, luck. For CH, as in chemist, stomach. For QU, as in queen, quit and quiet. It is silent in words like no, neat, etc. Allophones of k, it is aspirated when it comes initially, as in kin, cat. Unaspirated when it is preceded by S, as in sky, school. And also when it occurs medially, as in act, pack, back, backs. Inaudibly released when it occurs finally, as in lack, check, take. And when it is followed by another plosive, back, door. Position, it occurs in all three positions, initially, medially, and finally, as in kit, act, monk. For the articulation of g, the back of tongue is in firm contact against the soft palate, and the soft palate is raised and the nasal passage is shut off. The main obstacle to the airstream is formed and the lung air compressed behind closure and the vocal cords vibrate. When the closure is released, the compressed air escapes with force. You can see in the diagram the articulation manner of G sound. Spelling: G is regularly used as in get for wherever letter G is followed. For example, get, gate, giggle, jiggle. Sometimes it is spelled as GH, as in ghost, ghast, aghast, right? It is silent when it is followed by M, that is M, or N, as in phlegm, sign, gnat. Allophonic variants of G. It is partially devoiced when it begins a word, as in good, game, and voiceless when it ends a word, as in buck, big, etc. So this is all about the plosives, which we have seen the description of plosives, the articulation manner of plosives, their spellings, their allophones, and in detail we have studied the plosives. In the next class, let us see affricates. Thank you for watching the video.